All right, so if you're building a deep tech startup, you already know the deal, right? You're not out there chasing clicks. You're solving fundamental, hard problems with some serious technology. But that kind of work, well, it takes time. And the traditional funding world isn't always patient. So today, we're going to dive into a different playbook for deep tech founders, one that's built on smart strategy, not just pure speed.
And this quote just nails it perfectly. Traditional venture capital is built for fast growth, not slow breakthroughs. I mean, that one sentence gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? The whole VC model rewards speed and hype, which is pretty much the exact opposite of what deep tech needs in its early days. It's this fundamental mismatch that puts founders in a really tough spot.
And you can see that mismatch laid out right here. Over on one side, you've got consumer tech. It's all about moving fast, getting clicks, and showing quick traction. But on the other side, that's deep tech. It's focused on fundamental R&D and building a really defensible technical moat. It's like they're speaking two completely different languages. An investor might be asking you about your monthly recurring revenue when you're still perfecting the core science. That gap you see in the middle, yeah, that's where so many promising companies get completely stuck.
So what actually happens when you try to force it? When you take that VC money before your technology is really truly ready? Well, it can turn into a really costly mistake. And I'm not just talking about equity. I'm talking about the entire direction of your company. The costs are very, very real. The whole balance of power just shifts. You can lose control, suddenly facing this immense pressure to scale a product that just isn't there yet. You start chasing these short-term metrics just to please your investors, and in the process, you start neglecting the very thing that makes you valuable in the first place, your core intellectual property. That's your long-term edge, and it needs time and resources to mature.
But here's the good news. Venture capital is not the only path. In fact, for early-stage deep tech, it might not even be the best one. There's a whole other playbook out there, a mindset we're going to call seedstrapping that uses smarter routes to let you build real leverage before you even think about talking to VCs. So let's get into it. First up is a really clever strategy, in-kind capital. Now, this is where, instead of getting a check, you get essential services as a direct investment. So think expert legal help to file your patents or access to super specialized lab equipment, but without a single dollar actually changing hands.
The beauty of this strategy is that it solves two huge problems at once. First, you save that precious cash that you probably don't have. And second, you immediately start building that defensible moat with protected IP. This makes you way more attractive to future funders, and this is crucial, it keeps your ownership structure, your cap table, clean and simple.
Okay, next up, let's talk about grants. This is what we call non-dilutive funding, which is just a fancy way of saying you don't give up any equity in your company. Governments, universities, foundations, they often have programs designed specifically to support the kind of long-term, deep innovation that you're working on. But here's the crucial point, and it comes with a warning. While grants are absolutely fantastic, you have to use them as a tool, not a compass. You can't fall into the trap of building what a grant wants you to build instead of what the market actually needs. Let the grant fund the parts of your mission that overlap, but never ever let it steer your company's core vision. Now, for those of you whose technology started out in a university or research lab, you've got a pretty unique advantage. These places often have built-in support systems, like tech transfer offices and even their own early-stage funds, all designed to help you commercialize your work. Just be careful when you get to the negotiating table. It's pretty common for a university to ask for equity, and the amount they ask for really, really matters. Just look at the difference here. A 5 or 6% stake, that's in the fair zone. But 15 to 20%? Whoa, that's a huge red flag that could honestly make you uninvestable later on. You have to know what you're worth and don't be afraid to push back. Maybe the best kind of funding is just plain old revenue. And in deep tech, you can sometimes get your customers to pay you to help build your own product. This could be through pilot projects, paid proofs of concept, or co-development agreements. It's funding and market validation all rolled into one powerful package. The key here is striking the right balance. A good deal helps fund progress on your poor, scalable product while letting you keep your freedom. A bad deal, on the other hand, traps you. It gets you building a one-off custom solution or locks you into these crazy exclusivity terms that will absolutely cripple your future growth. Remember, you're building a company, not just a side project for one client. So, all of these paths we've talked about, they're all part of that mindset we mentioned earlier, seedstrapping. It's not just about being scrappy, it's about being really strategic. It's about using founder-led execution to build real, tangible value and leverage before you ever even think about touching a venture dollar. In practice, it looks a little something like this. You start by protecting your core tech with patents. You build the early prototypes yourself, in-house or in the garage. Then you go out and land that first pilot project or you win a grant. And all along, you're being super smart about your spending, outsourcing where you can and avoiding those expensive hires until they're absolutely necessary. Now, did you notice the common thread that runs through all of these different strategies? There's a secret weapon that makes all of them work. It's this unifying force that gives you power in every single negotiation. And that, my friends, is your intellectual property. You see, in deep tech, your patents aren't just for defense. They are a powerful signal. It's a signal to investors that your tech is real, a signal to partners that you have something truly unique, and a signal to customers that you're building on a solid foundation. It is tangible proof that you've created something of real defensible value. So, the million-dollar question is, how do you turn that signal into actual, usable leverage? How do you make that IP work for you in every single conversation you have? And here it is. This is the absolute core of the entire seed-strapping strategy. You build your IP before you build the hype. Don't wait for a VC to ask about your patent strategy in a pitch meeting. Make it part of your company's DNA from day one. When your patents support your market story, you walk into that room with a moat, not just a cool demo. You have an asset, not just an idea. And let's be crystal clear about something. This is not about avoiding venture capital forever. It's an incredibly powerful tool for scaling. The goal is to change the whole dynamic from if you can raise to when and how you choose to raise, always from a position of undeniable strength. Think about it. When you've used these alternative paths to build leverage first, you approach fundraising with intention, not desperation. You're not just asking for help, you're offering a de-risked, well-vetted opportunity. And that means you get to pick the right partners, not just the first ones who happen to say yes. At the end of the day, this all boils down to a new mindset. It's about taking control of your own funding journey and building your company on your own terms and at your own pace. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. The most powerful position you can ever be in is to raise capital like someone who doesn't actually need it. When you have real leverage, protected IP, early customer revenue, grant validation, you're not just another founder with an idea. You're founder with a business. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about for your own venture. Don't get caught up thinking about the funding round you need to close tomorrow. Instead, think about the steps you can take today. What leverage are you going to build first?